just give you a quick brush on with the concepts that we have seen so far in especially the third unit. So class is a blueprint and object is an instance of a class. How do you create a class? You create a class by saying class and then followed by the name of the class. And inside the class, you have instance methods, as well as you can also have the constructor. The constructor is given in terms of two underscores init and two underscores, which is also called as the dunder method. So you can see here, right, on the screen. So when I said init, before init I have two underscores and after init I have two underscores. Okay, so init is used for initialization. So in case if any of the objects initialization you want to do, you can actually do it in the init method. If you do not have any initialization, you can simply ignore the init method. In that case, the default internal init method will be called, and which will do nothing. But specifically, if you want to do any initializations, you will be giving the init method. So init method is used to initialize the variables or instance variables or objects variables. So this is what we have seen. Okay, so we have seen what is a class, what is a constructor. We also have seen a constructor is nothing but the init method, and we also have seen what is meant by an object. And also we have seen how to create the instance methods. So instance methods will be having def keyword in the beginning, similar to how you create a full-fledged functions. In the same way, like your class methods are also will be declared. So there will be a def keyword followed by the name of the method. And the difference between the function and the method is that method means that the methods inside a class. Functions are the functions which will be outside the class. Okay, so we are naming them in such a manner. So the methods will be having self as the first argument. That's the difference between the function and the method. Another difference is that a function will be called. Okay, so you can simply call the function by using the name of the function. In case the name of the function is area, I'll be saying area. I'll directly call the function. But the method is not individual. It is part of a class. So what you have to do is, how do you access a method is like you have to give the object reference and then call the method. So this is what we have seen in the previous class. Do you want me to show the program? I already have shown you. If you want, I'll just write a simple program and show you what is a class, what is an instance method, what is a object, how do you create an object. Do you want, or you want me to proceed further?
So the program, ma'am.
I'm creating a simple class. Okay, so I'm simply saying class A. Okay, so inside the class I am having x, so I'm saying x is equal to 0. Okay, and then I am saying def, so I said init, this is the constructor of the class, so I'm saying self, so then I'm saying name. Okay, fine. So inside the constructor, so if you want, you can just have a print statement which will say the constructor of the class. Okay, so this is the constructor, and then now I'm creating the instance variable. So I'm saying self dot name is equal to name. So this is wherein I have created the instance variable. So this is my class variable. Okay, so what is this? This is my class variable. Okay, and this is my class. This is my class, and the name of the class is A. Okay, fine. This is my class variable, and this is my constructor. Inside the constructor, I have initialized my instance variable. So this is an instance variable. Okay, so instance variable is also called as an object variable. You can also say that it's an object variable. So I just wanted to okay, so I'll take another method. So I'll say def display. So this is self. So what is this? This is my instance method. Okay, so this is my instance method. Please the display method. So this is an instance method. Inside the display method, what I'll do, I'll just print the class variable. Okay, so I'm saying class variable. And how do I access the class variable? By the class name. So I am saying a dot x, and then I'll be giving another print statement. Inside this, I'll say instance variable. Okay, instance variable and variable. Okay, instance variable, and the instance variable is nothing but self dot name. Okay, self dot name. So that's it. Okay, so this is what I'm having in the class. So this is my constructor. You can have a constructor or you can also skip a constructor. Okay, so if you don't want to do any initialization, then there is no purpose of having the constructor. You can simply ignore it. And this is my class variable. If you want to, you can just have, and this is the location where your class variable should be. And this is how you will be declaring your instance variables, because they are related to the object, they are individual to the object. So you need to refer them with the self keyword. And this is my instance method. Okay, so this instance method also need to have a self as the first argument. So wherein I have displayed the class variable and also the instance variable. Now I'll be showing you how to create an object. Okay, so I'm creating an object of the class. So how do I create the object? So I'll be giving a name to the object. So I'm saying obj is equal to and the class name. Okay, so this is the class. But here, since I gave my init method, I need to pass something into the constructor. So this a, after a I have given parentheses, right? So this is nothing but call to the constructor. Okay, so in case if I have not given any init method, then this procedure of calling the constructor will be okay. But since now I have explicitly given an init method inside my class, I have to look into what are the arguments that are going into the init method. So the first argument is mandatory, okay, self, but I didn't specifically pass value for self, but the next argument is name. So I have to pass name into the constructor, else it will be an error. Okay, so I am passing the name. So I'm saying Sudha. Okay, fine. So this is what I have done. And after doing this, an object is created and the object is Sudha and the reference variable is obj. So one object is created and the object is Sudha and the reference variable, the name of the object is nothing but obj. Now I am trying to access. Okay, so I'm trying to access the instance method. How do I access the instance method? I'll be accessing it with the object reference. So I have to say obj dot display. When I say obj dot display, the display method will be called. Since I said it's an instance method, I have to give obj before it. Okay, so obj is important. I can say anything. Okay, so it can be x or it can be D or whatever it can be. Okay, so it should be a valid identifier. It needn't be obj itself, but we are giving obj just because it is relevant. Like object, you can easily identify that it's a object reference. Okay, so you can also say D or it can be D123 or whatever. It can be any valid identifier. Okay, so I'm saying D dot display. So this display method will be called. And also you can also access the class variable from outside the class. How do I access? So I can say this is the class variable and I will be referring it with the class name. So I'm saying a dot x. Okay, so this is how I'll be referring to the class variable. I can also refer to the class variable by using the object reference. So there are two ways of accessing the class variable. But coming to the instance variable, I can only access it through the object reference. So I'll be saying d dot name. Okay, if I say a dot name, it will not work because they are not class variables, they are object variables. Okay, so this is my entire program, a very simple program wherein I showed you how to create a class. This is the name of the class and this is a class variable. You can have n number of class variables, whatever you want. You can have even your list can be a class variable. I have shown you a couple of programs working on lists, using them as a class variable. So you can just go through your previous class sessions. And this entire part is your constructor. So inside the constructor, initializations will be done. Okay, so the purpose of the init method is to do the initializations of the instance variable. You can also do the initialization of the class variables, but the main purpose of init method is to do initialization of the objects. Okay, fine. Object variables. And next is the display method. So the display method is an instance method meaning that I can access it only with the help of an object reference. Okay. So I have written some 2 lines inside this display method. Now fine. Okay. So now how to create an object? So I'll be saying A is equal to D is equal to, so D is nothing but the object reference name, and I'm saying A and then I said Sudha. Okay. So this is how I'm calling the constructor of the init method. You can see throughout this program, I have not written any init method. I have not written a call. I didn't make a call to the init method. The init method is automatically called. Okay, so when I say this, what happens is the init method will be automatically called. Okay, so you need it specifically make a call. Okay, so it is automatically called. Okay, so as soon as you write like this, you make a call like this, the init method will be automatically called, and the constructor will take Sudha as an argument into Sudha into the argument name. So inside the constructor, I said constructor will print on the screen, and the instance variable will be initialized. And after that, what I said d dot display. When I said d dot display, what happens is the display method will be called. And inside the display method, I'm displaying the class variable name, and also I'm displaying the instance variable. I can also access, rather than writing a display method, I can also access the class variables and the instance methods from outside the class also. And how I'm accessing it? To access the class variable, I have to refer, give it a full name. Okay, so this is called as fully qualified name. And the fully qualified name of the variable for the class variable, it will be the class name, or it will be the object name. Object name dot operator and then the name of the variable, or the class name dot operator, the name of the variable. So these two are for the class, and this is for the object variable. Okay, so this is for the object variable. So let me run this and show you. So you can see clearly that it is saying it has called the constructor. Okay, so it has init method is automatically called. You can see constructor, and then after that I'm calling display method. So inside the display method, I said class variable. Class variable value is 0, and the instance variable value is self dot name. So I have assigned it with Sudha. So it is saying Sudha, and then I have access to the class variable and the instance variable from outside the class also. So I said class, and then I said a dot x, which will be 0, and I also access to the class variable with the use of the object. So it is saying 0 again, and then I have accessed the instance variable by using the object reference. I cannot let me show you. Okay, so if I say a dot name, okay, so try to look into this. Okay, so what it is telling, I cannot access the instance variables by using the class name. Okay, so if I'm saying, it is saying type object A has no attribute name, meaning that the class is not having any variable with the name. That's what it is telling. The class variables can be accessed either with the class name or with the object name, but the instance variables have to be accessed only with the help of the object reference. So is clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Like how we have understood that init method is used for initialization, in the similar way there is an opposite method which is called as the dell method. Okay, so this dell method is used to destroy the objects. Init method is used to create the objects, and dell method is used to destroy the objects. Okay, so this is an opposite method, and even dell method needed to be written. Okay, so it is automatically called. Even if you write a dell method explicitly in your program or not, the dell method is called. Okay, so which will actually destroy the objects. Now if you want to do certain cleanup operations, then you can actually explicitly write something in your program. So what is the dell method? Dell method is a special method that is used when an object gets destroyed or deleted. Okay, so the del method is called. Okay, so this del method is called when an object gets destroyed or deleted. Okay, so destroy anna delete anna okate. సో ఎప్పుడైతే మనం ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేషన్ చేస్తున్నాము అంటే ఏం చేస్తాము, ఓబీజే ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు ఏ, ఐ సెడ్ ఓబీజే ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు ఏ, రైట్? దట్స్ వాట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ as creation. Okay, after creating the object, when you no longer need the object, you can actually delete the object. So whenever you want to delete or destroy the object, the del method is called. It is an opposite of the constructor. And what is the purpose of the del method? The purpose of the del method is to do certain cleanup activities, okay, before deleting the object. For example, what can be the cleanup activities? The cleanup activities can be closing a database connection, or it can be like cleaning up some buffer or cache, or some release or close other resources that the object was holding before it was deleted. So all these activities, so in case if it is has opened a file, and now the file that the object has opened need to be closed first, and then the object has to be deleted. Okay, so all these kind of cleanup activities, or the housekeeping keeping activities, all that will be done by your del method. And so del method is invoked when an object is about to be destroyed, and this method is used to clean up any resources used by the object. Okay, fine. So this is an example of your del method. So I'm just showing. You can see here that a underscore x is the class variable. Okay, so here there is a class a, and a underscore x is equal to 0 is the class variable. So this is the init method. So inside the init method, I have incremented the value of a underscore x to 1. Uh, this a underscore x, I am keeping it as a counter. Whenever an object is created, automatically the init method is called. So inside the init method, I am trying to keep a counter of the number of objects. Okay, so here the number of objects are 1. Like whenever the init method is called, this particular a underscore x will keep incrementing, which will reflect the number of objects created. And then I am saying self.v. Self.v is equal to v is nothing but the instance variable. And then I am printing the object value. So I said the object value is v, and the value of the class variable is a dot a underscore x. So come take a look into this particular output. So I said the object value is 10. Because you can see that I have called the object O1 is equal to a of 10. When I said a of 10, automatically the init method will be called. Okay, so where inside the init method, all the code that you have written in the init method will execute. So the object value is 10, and the value of the class variable is 1. So you can see that the class variable value is 1, meaning that only one object is created. And in the next line, I said O2 is equal to a of 20. Okay, so again, the init method is automatically called. Inside the init method, now I'm incrementing the a underscore x further. So now the value has become 2. Okay, meaning that there are 2 instances created for this class A. And the object value is 20 because I have passed 20 for O2. So O2's value will be, O2's V value will be 20. So 20 and 2 is printed on the screen. In the next line, what I have said is I have used the del keyword. So I said del O1. Okay, so when I said del O1, what happens is this del method is called. Okay, so even if you don't write this del method, internal method will be called and the object will be deleted. If you want to specifically write something on the screen, or you want to do some closing operations, like removing, closing the database connection and all that, you can actually override this del method and keep it in your class. So here I have taken this del method, and inside this, because one object is deleted, I'm decrementing the value of a underscore x. As I told you, a underscore x is used to keep track of number of objects created for class A. So a underscore x is decremented in the del, and a underscore x is incremented in the init method. So here itself you can make out the difference between the init method and the del method. In the init method, the objects are, as soon as the objects are created, the init method is called. So here you are incrementing the value. And inside the del method is called when you are destroying the object. So the object is decremented over here. Okay, so the value is decremented over here. And we are saying object with value percentage %d is going out of scope. Okay, and we are printing the value of v. So we said self.v. So object with value 10 is going out of scope. And once it is deleted, if you try to print o1.v, so by removing this comment and all that, so it will show an error saying that the name of the object is not there. So you'll be getting a name error. So this is regarding the dell method. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, so if I'm saying init is a constructor, dell is the destructor only. Okay, in your interviews or in your viva question, they'll ask you explain about the constructor and destructor in the Python programming. So constructor is nothing but init underscore underscore init underscore underscore is the constructor of the class, and underscore underscore dell and underscore underscore is the destructor of the class. Okay, both init and dell needn't be given in the program. They are automatically called. They are built-in methods which are automatically called. When an object is created, init is automatically called. When an object is destroyed, dell is automatically called. But specifically, if you want to do anything in your application, you can write that code inside your init method and dell method. Okay, as you can see in this particular program, I have not made an explicit call to the init method. Did I make any explicit call to the init method here in the program?
No.
I have it, right? I didn't call, but automatically it is called. And for dell also, I said dell O1. Okay, did I make any explicit call to the dell? I didn't make. Automatically internally it keeps calling. Okay, if you are not writing here, it will call something which is there inside the default dell method. Since you have written some code here, preference will be given to the code that you have written. So the code that you have written will execute. This is the dell method. So the next topic in your syllabus is other special methods. Okay, so here you have repr. This is underscore underscore repr. Okay, and this is a built-in method, and what is the purpose of this repr is like it returns the printable string representation of a given object. Okay, fine. Now the syntax is repr, and then you will be passing the object over here. Now let us take a look at this. So I said I want to print the description of the object. Okay, so here you have a class A. Inside the class A, I have the init method. The init method is doing the initialization of two variables here. The first one is the name variable and the second one is var variable. So I said self.name is equal to name and self.var is equal to var. So I'm doing initialization of the two instance variables. So I say obj is equal to a of sudha and 80 or something I have given. So sudha goes into the name and 80 goes into var. Okay, these two are individual to obj. Now I want to describe, okay, I want to get the description of the obj. So when I said print obj, so I'm getting some answer like this. You can look into the output wherein it is saying underscore underscore main underscore underscore then dot a object at and some memory address and all I'm getting. Is it understood by you? We do not, we are not able to understand what is the description of the object over here. Okay, so say you want to know certain, sometimes you want to know like what is this object and some certain other values about the object. So in that cases you'll be using this repr. Okay, so let us take a look into the next slide wherein I try to use this repr and get some meaningful answer out of the object. Okay, fine. So what I have done here is I said, so I have written an repr method over here, wherein in this particular method, I have said return name is. So I'm getting some meaningful answer and I can actually format the description of the object in such a manner by using it in the repr. So I'm saying name is some self.name plus some pass percentage is this self.var and all that I am giving. So now when I try to print the description of the object by using this repr, I'll get some meaningful description about the object. Okay, so this is the use of repr. If you are not giving this between str and repr, both are used for getting the printable string formats. Okay, so in this particular case, when I said print obj, um, and I specifically have written str over here. Okay, so if I'm not writing this str over here, the default str is called, and that's the reason why you got some answer like this. Okay, so it's the same program where there is no str over here, but in the next case I have written str. When I have written str, what happens is when I say print obj, this obj will try to call this dunder str. So inside this dunder str, I'm writing whatever I want to print on the screen, I'm writing. So that description about the object will print on the screen, and which will be more meaningful. Okay, right. So str and repr both are used for the same purpose, to print the description of an object in a meaningful way. Now let me show you the difference between str and repr in a single program. Now I have this import date time, and I want to get the today's date, which will be this particular today method will actually take the system time. So the system time, system date is 3/7/2021. That's the date I prepared this PPT. So that's why it has taken the system time then. And now I want to print this today is our object, right? So I said str today. When I say str today, so I'm getting some answer like this. But when I say repr today, so I'll be getting the module name and also the method name and all that I'll be getting. So repr will be more informative than str. Okay, but both are used for the same purpose. They are used to describe an object. So the next is the len method. Okay, so the length method is used to print the length of the object. Let us see how this is possible in a program. Okay, now this is a class A. So I'm having the three methods over here. The first one is the init method, which is used for initialization. And next I have repr, which is used to represent the object in printable format. And then I have len, which will actually print the length of the object. Okay, so here I said Sudha and 98. Sudha will go into name and 98 will go into where, and they both are initialized. Okay, fine. Now I'm saying the value stored in object is like I'm calling this. So the value is 98, 98 is printed. Okay, so the length of name stored in object is like length of obj. So it is giving me 5 because Sudha is 5. So the count of characters. Okay, so in the object Sudha, Sudha is a string and it is a object. So it is giving the length of the object. So which is 5. Okay, so this is how I'm getting the answer. So len is another method. And now coming to the next topic. So I have public and private data members. As I already told you, like there are there is protected, public and private members. Three kinds of data members can be there in your program. And protected is related to inheritance. So that is there in your next unit. So anyway, after this, we'll be looking into the fourth unit. So wherein I'll discuss about protected. As of now in this class, we will be discussing about the public and private members. All the data members that we have seen so far are by default public. What does it mean by you needn't put the public keyword and all that before it? Because by default it is a public variable or public method. Everything by default class members are public. If you want to make those members as private, okay, what you have to do is like you have to put a double underscore before it, not after it. If you are putting two underscores before and two underscores after it, then they become the dunder methods or the dunder variables. They have got specific other meaning. But if you want to make a variable as the private variable, then you have to put a double underscore before it. Say for example, in this particular program, V1 is what? V1 is
Public variable.
private. V1 is public or private?
Public.
It's a public variable. It's a variable or method? V1 is variable or method?
Variable, ma'am.
It's a variable.
Variable.
Yeah, V1 is a public variable. Underscore V2 is
Private variable. Private.
So now I try to access this public variable from outside the class. So I said outside class V1 is equal to obj.v1. Both are instance variables only. Instance public variable, instance private variable. Okay. Now for the public variable, I can access it from anywhere, from a different program, from a different package, from a different package, non-subclass, subclass, from everywhere I can access a public variable, and the value of the public variable is available to me. But private variable can be accessed only within the class. Even outside the class in the same program, it is giving me an error. It is saying a attribute has no attribute underscore underscore v2. You cannot access the private member from even outside the class. Okay, so it's giving me an error. But if I try to call the display method, it is giving me, because display method is inside the class, I can access the private members from within the class. Other than that, even from outside the class, or even in the derived class, or in the same package, or non subclass in the different package, or anywhere, it is not able, we cannot access the private members. So that is the difference between the private members and the public members. Public members, if is specific, you needn't give any symbol, because by default it is public. But private members, they need to have two underscores in the beginning. Whenever you have two underscores in the beginning of the variable, it is understood that it is a private member of the class. You can also have private methods. You can also have private variables. Okay, so herein I have members from anywhere you can access. So based on the access modifiers, that's what I told you when I discussed about encapsulation. Encapsulation is what? It's a hiding, right? You're encapsulating the data and the methods, binding of the data and methods together to create a class is encapsulation. And what is the benefit of encapsulation? The benefit of encapsulation is data security. Okay, because you can make the variables inside the class, the data or the methods inside the class as public and private, restricting their access from the outside world. So when you do that, automatically the security is you are providing security. Okay, so this is